Welcome to AZPM News Daily, a wrap-up of all the day's news from Arizona Public Media. I'm Steve Jess. Coming up, voting rights figure in a congressional debate.
Well, I don't think that mail-in voting should be ended at all. And I don't think Trump was doing that at all.
ICE arrests set a record in Arizona.
In fact, less than 1% had been convicted of a violent crime.
And you won't believe where they found whale bones.
And that's also a time when the Andes were very, very active.
That's ahead on this Thursday, August 27th, 2026. Starting us off, Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva faced off with Daniel Gutierrez, her Republican opponent, in the race for Congressional District 7, Wednesday night in a debate. Grijalva called to protect mail-in voting for the 80% of Arizonans who vote by mail.
But the SAVE Act will actually require, especially women, to show a passport to prove that our last name is what it is.
Gutierrez partially agreed.
Well, I don't think that mail-in voting should be ended at all. And I don't think Trump was doing that at all.
The original SAVE Act's effects on mail voting were mostly indirect. It could affect someone's ability to register by mail because of the documentary proof of citizenship requirement. The current version being debated in the Senate goes further because the voter ID requirement applies to the ballot itself, including absentee and mail voting. Immigration agents arrested thousands of people in Arizona last month, marking the highest number of monthly arrests in years, according to a data project that studies detainments and deportation. Angela Gervasi has more.
ICE agents arrested nearly 2,200 people across the state in July. That's according to the Deportation Data Project, a UCLA and UC Berkeley initiative that uses public records to track immigration enforcement. It marks the highest monthly number of arrests in Arizona since the project began gathering data in 2022. The data also shows a sweeping majority of the people arrested and detained by ICE last month either had no criminal record or a nonviolent criminal conviction. In fact, less than 1% had been convicted of a violent crime. On a national level, the Deportation Data Project estimates ICE arrested more than 49,000 people last month, the highest recorded monthly count since 2022. Angela Gervasi, AZPM News.
The Trump administration is proposing to drastically increase H-1B visa fees to more than $100,000. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services says the fee increase will help pay for the federal government's costs in administering the program. Application fees currently land between $3,000 and $5,000. But industry experts warn it could hinder the country's ability to onshore semiconductor manufacturing, including in Arizona, which has become a hub for production with the expansion of companies like TSMC. Assistant Energy Secretary Audrey Robertson toured the University of Arizona's underground mining laboratory in Sahuarita Wednesday. Katia Mendoza has more on that.
Robertson leads the Department of Energy's Office of Critical Minerals and Energy Innovation. On Wednesday, that office announced an award of nearly $2 million to the U of A to advance research in emerging extraction technologies.
As one of only 14 accredited mining schools in the nation, they're going to play a vital role in the reindustrialization of America, which starts with learning how to make things again, and that all begins with a mine upstream supply chain.
Earlier this month, the agency announced that it would invest up to $100 million nationwide as part of an initiative to strengthen the critical minerals workforce and domestic supply chain. I'm Katia Mendoza, AZPM News.
The police department in Surprise has cleared an officer suspected of misusing Flock's camera data. The department says the abnormal activity detected during a recent audit was due to a technical error. Surprise police say the officer did not violate department policy, but instead a technical anomaly made it appear as though the officer repeatedly searched for the same vehicle using data collected from automated license plate readers. Pinal County supervisors on Wednesday rejected plans to build La Osa Energy Center, a massive data center development planned outside Eloy. The developer, Vermaland, had plans to build 11 data center buildings, a 500-megawatt natural gas plant, and battery storage that could serve 1 gigawatt in total, which is equivalent to the energy demand of a large city. The rejection comes even after the developers proposed an 80% reduction in the original scale of the project, self-imposed limits on water use, and a commitment to shoulder all of the energy costs. The Mexican state of Sonora is registering a growing number of New World screwworm cases after the U.S. reopened the border to cattle in Douglas this week. Sonora has registered 9 cases since the first appearance of the flesh-eating parasite last week. Live cattle imports restarted on Monday after more than a year-long border-wide ban to protect the U.S. from the parasite. The new cases in Sonora are toward the south of the state, near the border with neighboring Chihuahua, more than 200 miles from Douglas. Geologists at the University of Arizona are focusing on the mysterious beaching of whales on the Pacific coast of Chile 7 million years ago. Tony Perkins reports.
Engineers first discovered whale fossils stacked up in the Atacama Desert while expanding the Pan American Highway in the 1960s. U of A geosciences professor Barbara Carafa says the bones date back 7 million years, when the Andes Mountains featured a string of volcanoes.
And that's also a time when the Andes were very, very active.
Carafa and her fellow researchers theorized baleen whales and other ancient sea creatures were poisoned by toxins from volcanic ash that was dumped into the ocean. The whales' floating carcasses were driven onto land by strong storms and ultimately buried there. I'm Tony Perkins, AZPM News.
You can hear more on Arizona science tomorrow at noon on NPR 89.1. Students with the University of Arizona's Native Soar program led a welcome and blessing ceremony on campus Thursday. Noor Hagigi brings us this report.
Creator will always be there to greet you in the morning with the rising sun.
Anthony Escalante is Tahana Autumn and Kanisatake. On Thursday, he sang the Creator's song and provided his first ever sage blessing under the trees by the College of Education.
There has been not too many singers or people who live the traditional life, but I, for one, am trying my best to just re-strengthen that knowledge and, revitalize those ways of living and being, because it's what kept us alive for time immemorial, and it's what's going to keep us alive.
Escalante is part of Native Soar, a College of Education program that pairs UA students with Indigenous high schoolers to support them in college readiness. He says the Native community helps him navigate campus life.
Start the day with an open heart and an open mind.
Noor Hagigi, AZPM News.
And now you're caught up on the stories we've covered today at Arizona Public Media. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to AZPM News Daily wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Jess, and we'll be back tomorrow.